remember, oh my God, probably around this time last year, actually, when everyone was like, oh, Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that. And I was like, hey, yeah, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He had, like 7 games that were, like, decent. Overall, his pass rating was, like 80s. He was completing, like, low 60% of his throws, averaging under 200 yards a game, right? I think he had, like, almost a pick a game, right? So I said, relax. Now, there was some special there. I said, he can run, for sure. For sure, he's got this leadership quality, this underdog quality that everybody likes, and that has proven to win. Right, Joe Burrow had to transfer. Mahomes, 10th pick, and kind of came from a non-traditional power. Sits for a year. Right, Brady, 7th round or 6th round pick, whatever. So he's kind of got this underdog quality to him. And I said, but let's relax for a second. I said I probably wouldn't have moved off Wentz for him. I ended up being wrong there. He's definitely a much better quarterback than Carson Wentz, more consistent player, better leader. But story out, I think from The Athletic, that actually the Eagles around this time last year were looking to trade for Russell Wilson. They had a package on the table. The Seahawks had accepted it. The only thing it was waiting on was Russ, as he had a no trade clause, so he had to approve every trade or approve any trade that he wanted. Right. Eventually, he goes to the Broncos, of course. But it was actually Russell Wilson that turned down the Eagles. Right? We think after a year, right? So this league is so year to year, right? Stafford and the Rams win a Super Bowl. They win 5 games. Baker Mayfield starting games for him at the end of last year, right? Like the Browns, Baker Mayfield, playoffs, competing with the Chiefs. Didn't win, but are competing with the Chiefs into the fourth quarter of a playoff game in Arrowhead. Baker, we'll see you later. Deshaun Watson comes in, suspended for 11 games. It's an abysmal season. Year to year, this league is very, very different. And so the view now is the Eagles are way up here. And now, like the Broncos, like Nathaniel Hackett was terrible. Ross is washed. Some of their younger pieces aren't developing as we thought. Jerry Jeudy's good, not quite special. Javonte Williams coming off an injury, right? So the thought process is Ross and everybody in Denver is way down here, and Philly's way up here. Philly wanted to move off Jalen Hurts. And go for Russell Wilson. And you think it's crazy, go look at the numbers, right? At the time that they wanted to move off Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson, it would have been a no-brainer. It would have been a lock it in, 100% we're doing it. And this goes to show you what different support, right? We're going to talk about NFL coaches later, and that's why this rant is so pertinent today. Support and who is around you is so important. It's so important. So the Eagles almost move off Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson. Instead, Russ then goes to Denver. Nathaniel Hackett's his coach. His only good running back gets hurt. 2 of his wide receivers before the season are hurt. One of them gets hurt in the season. Left tackle's hurt. Defense actually performed pretty well, but anybody that Russ is directly working with, it's falling apart all around him. They fire the coach. New staff this year. And then you flip the script and it's Jalen Hurts. They end up obviously sticking with Jalen Hurts because Russ vetoes that trade. And Jalen Hurts gets A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and 2 good backs and 2 Hall of Famers on the offensive line and the entire Georgia defense, it seems like. Good coaching staff, right? Both their coordinators get hired this year. It's crazy. One little choice, one little flip of a coin, if you will, one drop of the hat, and how much it can change. Because now you're talking, well, Jalen Hurts got paid. Jalen Hurts has a really nice contract now. It's fairly team-friendly. More backloaded, so once the salary cap goes up, yada, 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 it will be very proportionally team-friendly in terms of salary cap. But he's got this big, massive contract now. And Russ, conversely, also has this big, massive contract. But again, looked at very differently. Hurts, leader, grinder, gonna make that contract worth it, team friendly. And then Russ, it's like, oh my God, if he has another bad year, are they going to be able to get out of it? Right? They don't have an out for another 2 years, right? They're already talking. Russ has only had 1 year in Denver. They're already talking about how to get out of the contract. It's insane how a couple decisions here and there can vastly change the landscape of the NFL. Right? So what if they trade Jalen Hurts and 2 firsts for Russell Wilson? So now Jalen and 2 firsts in Seattle. That's an interesting one. Are they still competitive? Is he better than Geno Smith? Does he work in that system? Does he go with Pete Carroll? Can he compete in that division? Maybe. Maybe. And then Russ and Philly. Well, it's kind of a weird fit because he doesn't want to run as much as they wanted the offense to look like with Jalen, how it kind of was a running first offense, and Russ wanted to throw the ball more, and A.J. Brown's good, kind of similar to like a DK Metcalf body type, so does Russ maybe work with him, and it's a little bit different of a fit. One little decision. We now have Jalen Hurts, who appears to be on the trajectory to a top 5 quarterback, and Russ, who now needs Sean Payton, a Hall of Fame coach, to throw him a life raft and hopefully bring him back to at least an average NFL starter because he was bad last year. One decision. It's crazy how year to year and how environment dependent this league is. A calendar year, sometimes not even a full calendar year, can have such a massive impact on not only that year's results, but on legacies, on money, on teams' 5 to 10 year plans. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, that one decision changed the entire dynamic of the landscape for those two organizations. And I think
there's 3 organizations.
I mean,
Denver,
3 organizations. And Seattle.
Denver, Philly, and Seattle.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you answered it a little bit. I think Russell Wilson would have at least been a little bit better looking back on it.
Hindsight's always 20/20. Than he would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to imagine he would be better in Philly.
I mean, with Sirianni,
with that roster, it's a better roster than Denver.
100%. 100%. I think Denver was super, I want to say overinflated going into the season too. And then I think they relied too much on Russ. You said it best. He wouldn't have had to be the reliant factor in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He would have had the running game. He would have had weapons. He would have had a really good offensive line.
That's a good point.
All those things.
Is he as good as Jalen Hurts, though? That's the question. Like, would he have been as good as, because Jalen was an MVP level player?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Jalen also got his opportunity from Russ. Russ not going to Philadelphia.
A huge opportunity.
I mean, Jalen should write him a thank you card.
Absolutely.
It got him a contract, and it allowed him to prove himself. That's all you can ask for in this league.
Well, this leads perfect into hit number 1 here.